All right, Seth. How do I do this thing again?
What up?
I think my dad has this exact same purple.
You want me to like not? I mean,
You can look at me or the camera, whichever.
oh, okay,
is
so
more
the angle
comfortable
like this
for you.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels really weird to do a reflections video for last semester, like halfway through the summer, but
Yeah, you should probably go find your glasses.
I'm not going to find them.
That's what you think.
Though I think if the glasses are out here, they wouldn't be affected by that current unless they got closer to shore.
So yeah, these batteries have been through a lot for the last few days.
So where would you like me to stand?
Oh, you actually moved it over because you wanted it to...
what's done is done. Here we are.
You're gonna have to use verbal cues since I can't see anything. Wait, is this on video now?
Yes.
You know, you should have gave me my questions so I can have like an answer in my mind.
Same questions as years in past or different questions?
Same questions, but there's a couple of new ones.
Okay, cool. I say that as if I remember what the questions were, but I don't, so.
Rule number 1, ad lib is better than script. Just look at Trump.
But anyway, started because I've got to get both of you guys done before ice cream.
We'll just start off with the identifying information.
I hate this part. I never know what to say. You better not put that in the video.
I'm Amanda Eubanks. I'm a rising senior at the University of Wyoming, and here to do another reflections video. It'll be great. Hopefully it won't be as rambly as all the rest of them, because I think I've gotten progressively less rambly as we've gone on. So theoretically, senior year should be the shortest, but, you know, we never know. Maybe I'll be super mopey about things and be extra rambly.
Well, I won't introduce my name, but my name has previously been called Amelia on your blogs. I am a student at the School of Mines. That's pretty much it thus far. I'm from Britain, South Dakota for the most part, which is East River. I'm planning to graduate in May 2020 now in civil engineering.
Alex Bees. I am from Watertown, South Dakota. I am a junior mechanical engineer at the moment, I would say. See how long I identify myself as a junior. Mechanical engineer. What else do you want to know?
I'm Christopher Ora. This is finishing my junior year here at South Dakota School of Mines, and I'm majoring in mechanical engineering.
I am Matthew Miller. I just finished my third year at School of Mines of South Dakota in Rapid City. My birthday's coming up in 6 days, so that's kind of neat. How neat is that? Yeah.
Well, I'm Brooke. Okay, restart. I'm Brooke, and I am in the middle of my junior year right now because I am on co-op with Bobcat, and I am Seth's friend and has been for a long time, since we went to college, I guess. 3 years. Long time.
Yep, I'm Brandon Boxstance. I'm an atmospheric science student at the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. I just finished up my third year where I took art history and got an A in that class, so let that be on the record books forever. I am very surprised I got that well. But yeah, I guess I have one more year left, so this year's been thinking about the future a lot, so that'll be interesting.
And how was this year for you overall?
It was fantastic, honestly. It was like really action-packed, and there was a lot of new stuff I did, but overall, like, just, I don't know, I thought it was really good. I took on a lot more responsibility than I ever have, and at the beginning it was kind of bad, and then I got better, so it's been a lot of improvements.
Overall, I think it was a great year. First semester was a little rough. Second semester was extra rough, but I learned a heck of a lot, and I think I grew up a lot this year.
For me, overall, it was a pretty good year. Academically, I did pretty well. Can't complain about that. And spiritually, I think there's been a lot of growth. I think God's been leading me to have a bigger role in our chapter, and so I'm definitely been seeing me growing more and being more involved in some of the stuff that we've been doing, especially towards the later half of this semester. And so I'm excited about that.
Overall, I'd say it's pretty good. I would say I grew spiritually and just looking back and seeing how I was in so many like different classes last year. Like I was in the beginning solids class, and then this year I was in the machine design class, and it's just like that's the senior level solids class, and late junior year solids class, and just seeing like how far my knowledge has grown from beginning of school, and just seeing how cool that is. And this year I would say I had like multiple friend groups. Seeing that come into play was just weird, I'd say, because all of a sudden I'd have like a whole bunch of people just saying, hey, hello, how's it going? And just, that's pretty cool seeing that too.
This year overall was quite stressful for me, specifically the second semester. I had some really bad exams. Yeah, it was challenging. I did enjoy it though. I was exercising a lot more over the course of both semesters, which just helped a lot. Just in general with mental state and energy levels, it's really beneficial.
Fall semester was really rough, really hard, but I went through it, and my GPA did drop a little bit, which made me a little upset. Then I went on co-op with Bobcat and was not enjoying my job for first third or so of my time here, and got really bored. And then the second third, I was like hating my job, and now I'm kind of in the third, and it's okay. It's mediocre. Starting to get some good projects and have stuff to do. I guess I'm relied on a little bit, but still not fully trusted. And I guess that's the way it is.
Well, since last year, I was on co-op for 8 months in Watertown, so that was nice because I was able to be home with my family and stay in touch. But I also felt like I kind of missed out I could have had a summer to just go and live somewhere else for 8 months, but I guess that just didn't happen, so I'm more than okay being at home with my family and my dog and friends, so that was really nice. The summer started out really nice. All of my friends from high school are still there, other people, and then August came and the other interns at work went back to school, and my friends went back to school, and all of a sudden it was just me left in town there, so it got quiet real quick, both at work because I kind of ran out of projects at the same time that everyone went back, so that was a tough month or so there. But then I came back to school, and this semester I've been an RA on campus, which is something I totally never thought I would be, that, peppy, obnoxious person that likes to greet people and make sure everything's going okay and people are doing okay, because that was so not freshman year Alex. He was like, those people are weird, let's stay away from them. That's changed since then drastically. That's about it for that question, I think. I don't remember what the question was, though.
How do you think it compared to your previous years here at school?
Honestly, I would say each year has had its growth in that. So this year was different in that I did have all of these different friend groups and saying hello, hi, how's it going? And then this year I actually kind of did look back and look at my education and see how far I've came. I guess I haven't really done that since coming to college. And I don't know, each year it seems to be a spiritual growth in some way, and so I wouldn't say that this year was bigger than the other years or smaller. God attacks different parts of your life at different points of your life. Yeah, it's really cool just seeing how I guess last year I was involved with the men's group, and then this year it didn't get started back up again. And so I kind of struggled with that kind of same fleshly sins that I had. And then just about 2 months into this fall semester, there was another men's group that started up, and just being able to go there and being able to rely on different people, different friends, and bearing each other's burdens, like the Bible says in Galatians, I believe. It was really cool just seeing that, how through that time and pushing each other, that sins just started to melt away out of our lives, and just seeing God's glory through that time.
I wasn't really expecting much. I think it exceeded my expectations for personal growth and stuff I did. I guess I was expecting a lot less travel this year, especially coming from Ireland, traveling every single weekend at least. I was okay, I'm going to be bored out of my mind going back to the school. And obviously it was awesome seeing everyone again and hanging out. But I was really worried that like the lack of travel would kind of kill me. It didn't, and I did a lot already, and I'm gonna do a lot more. So yeah, I think I'm starting to realize that I can stay in one place, even though like I'd rather choose not to. If I can, I can be happy and stay in one place.
You know, I think this year's probably been the best year so far in pretty much every way. I think one of the parts of the Bible that really resonated with me over the past year was at MUP for one of our morning devotional liturgy things. We read Mary's song after she's been chosen to be the mother of Jesus, and she sings how the generations will remember her for being blessed. And I just feel that way this year with everything going well and having family and friends that love me. And I just have felt, that feeling of blessing throughout the year.
By far, it's been the hardest year academically and commitment-wise. I took all four of my senior capstones this last spring semester, so that was a nightmare. Word for wise, don't do that. But it also wound up being my best semester grade-wise, so that's a huge plus. I had more responsibility whenever I had campus ventures leadership on top of holding a position in Chi Omega, so quite a lot to juggle, but I grew up a lot and learning how to maintain my time well while also making time still for friends and that investment in relationships.
For some reason, I was under the impression that it was either second semester sophomore year or first semester junior year that's supposed to be the hardest ones. But definitely it was this semester, without a doubt. So far, at least. I mean, who knows? Maybe senior year ends up being really hard as well. I hope it's not quite this bad, at least. But definitely academically far more challenging. There were a lot of classes that are very different, feel very unrelated from anything we've studied in the past, and so it feels like kind of having to start from the beginning as far as what I know and kind of developing intuition for entirely new subjects. Found that very challenging.
You know, they say when you're a freshman, they say like, oh, your freshman year is so easy. It's going to be so hard your junior and senior year. And I was like, it's hard now. I don't believe you. And, and then you hear about like, oh, half of the freshman class leaves. And I never really liked believing them. But then I got to be like a junior, end of sophomore year, early junior year, and I was able to like kind of predict like, yeah, that kid's probably not going to make it. And that felt really bad and weird, but it was kind of cool. Like what they were telling me was actually the truth. I just didn't like it at the time. But for difficulty wise, I guess it got harder. It all feels just as hard in the moment, but I guess it was, after you look back on it, it's definitely harder now. And I personally have grown a lot more socially, I guess. I am more willing to get out of the books and do not books, textbooks and homework and stuff, so that's always good, I guess. As a general rule, I am still very heavy in the homework and textbooks in schools. I am getting slowly squeezed over and introduced to the social side.
Speaking of changes, what's something unexpected that's happened to you this year?
I have an answer, but I don't want it on the video. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I got a co-op. Oh, I got a co-op. I did not want a co-op because I wanted to graduate on time because I'm kind of tired of being in school. I love school a lot, and it hurts me to say that, but I'm ready to go an adult for a while. Getting a co-op was unexpected, but I took it anyways, and it turns out I thought of another thing. Sorry. It turns out I really needed the time away from school. My brain was kind of dead last semester, and I think it's really helpful to take a semester off, and now I'm ready to go back to school. And in my recovering from school here on co-op, I have now figured out that I am kind of intolerant to dairy and gluten. That's why I felt so sick the last full year. I'm not celiac, but I'm partially. So that's been interesting to figure out how to cook for myself. And also, I hate telling somebody that, oh, I'm gluten-free, because, you know, being gluten-free is a fad. It's a fad in that it's supposed to be healthy, you know, so you're supposed to go try to be gluten-free for a while. I don't want to seem like somebody who's just joining the next dieting fad, you know, but it is really helpful that there is people like that, because it's increased the market for these things, and now they've gotten cheaper and larger varieties are available. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
Unexpected. I guess one of the more unsuspecting things that happened, I guess the closest thing to unexpected that I have this year was in the spring for my Bible study. I didn't really know what we'd do after going last semester over the Old Testament, and so I kind of left it up to my small group to decide, which, you know, was probably a good idea because I was pushed in what we were studying. We were doing devotionals, and that was very good. I think it was very good to practice the discipline of reading devotionals, but it was also challenging because a lot of times when you do devotionals, you do them by yourself, and it's hard to, you know, dig extremely deep into devotionals because usually they say pretty much everything that they contain. So trying to get my small group to talk about it and dig through it, and just the unexpectedness of actually going over devotionals was definitely a surprise, but I think it was a welcome surprise.
So this year, I was the large group coordinator for InterVarsity, and with that I got the privilege to schedule a whole bunch of stuff, like get speakers and then do activities and such. And this year, my church was bringing in a whole bunch of missionaries, and it was Missions Mayhem Month, and it was more than a month, so it was great. But they brought in a guy from EMI, Engineering Missions International. He came in, and my pastor was like, you should see if he wants to talk in front of you guys. So I asked him to talk in front of us, and then that was just like the starting of my journey with this company called EMI. And so right now I'm actually wearing the shirt that they gave me. I will be serving with them next fall semester. Yeah, just seeing how God just placed this idea of serving with them when he came and talked with us, and then he was talking at our church service on Sunday, and just how that kept on coming up, and I couldn't shake it from my head for the whole year. And then I was talking with my pastor throughout the whole year, and just seeing him saying like, yeah, this is something you should do. So he came into our church, and just how I couldn't shake that off my brain, and God kept on bringing it up, and just seeing how that came to fruition, even through my own mishaps, like you could say. I actually submitted the application late. It was due the March 23rd, and I thought it was due in May. So I was like, oh, I'll submit it on April 9th, thinking it's all right. No, it was late. And so I had a nice conversation with them, just got in touch with so many different people. End of that week, they asked me, oh, do you want to interview like next week on Thursday? Just like, sure. And yeah, just seeing how great God is, and how they didn't have room for me, and then they like all of a sudden the spot just opened up. Yeah, God just is super great.
I definitely wasn't expecting, I suppose, ever to do as poorly on an exam as I did. I think that was especially frustrating to me because I didn't feel as though it really accurately was a representation of what I actually knew in the class. It felt like it was just ridiculously harsh grading on things that were fairly trivial in the grand scheme of things. And when I went and talked to the professors about them, and I went over, it's like, oh yeah, like this process is fine. I look at this, the process is fine, and yet I'm still getting a 52 on the exam. That was just, yeah. I suppose I got to talk with Daniel Bow quite a bit more this semester as well. And something that was somewhat unexpected for me is that he's actually really a really hilarious person. I kind of had the image in my mind that he just did nothing but study and work all the time, which is mostly accurate, I should say. It really is mostly accurate, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a personality or anything. I really enjoy being around him.
Probably just the relationships that I had this year. It was really unexpected. Like, I dated a guy at the beginning of the year, and there are a lot of people that I wound up keeping relationships with that I didn't think I would, and then a lot of people that I lost relationships with that I didn't think I would lose their relationship. A couple of rocky patches in different relationships that I was surprised at also.
I became the membership education vice president of the sorority I'm in, Alpha Delta Pi, and that was really unexpected. I didn't really want it. It just kind of happened. I wanted to be a different officer position, and then I was kind of like slightly coerced into, well, it was suggested like you'd be very good at this other position, maybe you should apply. And me not knowing that I was the only one who applied for this, I got it immediately, and I felt kind of betrayed because I was like, I don't actually want this. I wanted another position. And then I was like, okay, I should just try my best in it, and I really liked it. And so it's kind of weird because I hated it for like the first 2 or 3 months, probably 2 months, I guess. Then a few weeks before I got the CBYX notification that I got it, I started really liking the position. And then I found out I'm leaving. I was like, oh no, I want to continue to like commit to this position that I've already committed to. And I feel like a lot of times I've traveled to, in some way, relieve myself of the commitments that I've already had. In Ireland, like I was president of OSTEM for 1 semester, and I felt like super refreshed knowing that like I only had to do it for a semester. And now I'm like, okay, I should start committing to longer stretches of time than 1 semester. But I'll do that later, I guess. What can you do?
CBYX thing, what is that?
It's the Congress Bundestag Youth Exchange programs where 75 Americans go to Germany, 75 Germans go here, and you live in Germany for a full year. So I'll be doing that next school year.
So Seth took me to Israel. That was kind of spontaneous almost. The planning of it wasn't as far out as I would have liked it to been, but I was also okay with it. I mean, it was like, we were gonna go somewhere, we just didn't quite know where until like a week or so beforehand. That really drove my mother nuts, so that made me very happy. Anything to, get her worked up is good in my eyes. So yeah, but that trip was a lot of fun, just seeing, just an entirely different side of the world, and then just the insane amounts of culture that are in that country there, just how much diversity exists in the world outside of South Dakota. I've seen other places in America, but that place was definitely, one of the most culturally diverse places in the world, I would assume. One of, I guess. But yeah, if you asked me in January what I was gonna do for spring break, going to Israel would have not been on the list at all. But I'm glad it happened. It was a lot of fun and definitely learned lots about myself and the world.
What's something that you learned this year about yourself or others or life overall?
I'm super obnoxious, loud, peppy, into other people's business, I guess. I learned lots. I feel so much more confident in myself than I was last year. But could I pinpoint a single thing that changed? Not too much. That's definitely something that I realized when I came back from co-op was the main group, like Seth, Matt, Zeke, all those people that I did homework with are now a whole semester ahead of me. Now I don't have the study group that I had before, so I actually have to go through and learn these things by myself, and that's a whole lot harder than it is. But it might be more effective. I might learn better, but I learn less when I do it by myself. So that's definitely something I've learned, and I've seen I knew when I was coming in that I had to get a group of people because I've seen people try and do it themselves, and it just doesn't work here. You can't go through life, and especially life at Mines by yourself. It doesn't work well for you.
Oh, I thought of a thing. I don't know which question it answers, but you can fill it in where you deem it necessary. One thing I've learned while being on co-op, or realized at least, is there's no point in us going to school. Like, I haven't used anything I've learned in school on the job force, and I've had an internship and a co-op now. I don't use any of the equations. I don't use theories ever. It's all keep the world turning somehow. Use duct tape if you need to. It's really frustrating, and then you talk to someone about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, the point of going to school is to show the companies that you were able to learn, and so then when you get there, they can train you exactly what you need to know." which is frustrating. Why go through all the effort and frustrations and stress and mental health issues with going to school for 4 years? And on top of that, I read a thing online. It was on Reddit, like engineering students subreddit or something like that. It said the definition of a co-op is a disposable engineer. I told that to my boss and another guy I work with, and they're like, yeah, it's true. So I complained to him, and I was like, the company tells the co-op, hey, we are trying to sell ourselves to you. We're trying to make you want to be employed by us full time, right? So why would they give us all the bad jobs that no one else wants, right? How is that supposed to sell the company to us, right? And they had a really good response. Their response was, it's a fine line to ride. It's really hard because if you give a co-op too much responsibility, totally give an entire project to them, when they leave, all that knowledge is lost, and the company, that group of engineers has to start over from scratch, right? So it's really hard. You can give them a cool project, but you got to sit there with them. That way the knowledge isn't lost when the co-op leaves. I don't know how much I agree with all of that, but it makes sense, and it is what it is. I've grown close with several people I wasn't really expecting to. I made close friends with people I wasn't expecting to. So that was really cool to see. And then it's been really fun to see the friendships continue to grow a little bit while on co-op, and I can't really talk to them in more than I don't know, once every few weeks. I don't know. It's been good. Good to see that I can still have, good friends, because all of last semester I was feeling like I'm an awful friend. I can't make friends. I wasn't giving you as much time as I wanted to. I wasn't giving lots of people as much time as I wanted to, and I was feeling like maybe I was just a worthless human being that isn't allowed to have friends or something. And it's gotten better.
I think I learned the value of investing in a relationship and making sure that you're not only listening, but also providing things about yourself to the relationship. I think when I went to Wyoming, I made a big point to listen to everyone. And I forgot to kind of interject myself into those relationships I created at first. And so I think I learned how to be able to listen, but also interject and have a two-way street with that relationship. I think also there's a couple of girls in my sorority that I built a relationship with based on one of the girls in my sorority, she teaches Zumba, and so I built a relationship with her based on that commonality of liking to exercise and listening to her talk about it and get enthusiastic about it and enjoy it so much that she wanted to know. I had a couple of deep conversations with her about Christ and about what it is to follow God and that kind of thing. And I think that's something that I've learned a lot and has taken me a long time to learn, because I certainly didn't do that my freshman year in in college. And I'd like to say that I'm a lot better at it now. That's probably false. I know for sure I have a lot more to learn about it, but I think I'm getting there.
Waiting for Chapter Focus Week to do this is really nice because sometimes I get to use Chapter Focus Week stuff in here. One of the things I've learned just yesterday morning, well, I guess I probably knew this before, but it was really revealed to me yesterday morning, is that I need to not rely on myself when trying to, solve through problems. Yesterday, as part of the leadership track, we did this thing called initiatives, which is basically a series of team building exercises. And one of them, everyone else was silenced but me. And so I had to take the lead, which wasn't the worst part of that. I can take the lead, but the thing that really frustrated me was not being able to get other people's input. And so because I couldn't get their input verbally, I kind of just treated them, as they described it as pawns. And, I wish I would have thought of, still using them because they are still conscious. They just can't speak to me. So, getting them to help me lean to the left or to the right to help balance would have been really nice. And I wish I would have thought of that. So yeah, I just need to remember to use the people around me and also use the tools that I have access to and not just rely on my own strength.
Recently, I've just been reflecting on this last year, and throughout the year in reflection, I've been seeing things pop up in my life, and even looking back before that, of me being insanely selfish, and how that played into how I spent my time and how I spent my money and allocated my resources. Instead of saving money or giving money like tithing, I would save up all my money and buy something. or like I would think that I need to be on my computer and watch YouTube or something. Instead, I could have been like reading my Bible or praying or just doing something with other people, just seeing that. And it's getting pretty warm out here.
I really learned the value of exercise. I suppose that's never been a regular part of my life before, and it made a very large and very positive difference. And even this semester has been much more lax than the previous, and I notice it. I mean, I don't get out of bed as early as I want to because I don't have anything to motivate me to get out of bed. It's too cold to go running outside in the mornings, and so I just end up staying in bed until I have to get up to go to classes, which is just not the best way to go, I know now. That was definitely something I learned. As far as like actually things I learned in classes, I thought I learned a lot in machine design this year. I don't think it's going to be particularly helpful for anything I do after college, but just really talking about the mechanisms of fatigue and fracture and say buckling. Those three in particular were very helpful for me as far as just being able to look at something moving and have some idea of where it's going to break. It really was a very practical application of everything we did in Solids 2. And that was interesting. It was kind of frustrating to me, the lack of derivations, and of course empirical formulas are my least favorite thing on this planet. Absolutely my least favorite, which made both heat transfer and machine design rather miserable, because that's all that either of those are. But the concepts behind it were really interesting to me. Similarly with heat transfer, and that's one thing I really enjoyed about studying radiation here at the very end of the class, is that it all is very conceptual. If you can conceptually picture what's going on, radiation coming and reflecting, is it coming from really far away? Is it pretty close? What is the temperature difference? If you can just picture all these things and just picture the radiation going, then the equations kind of just fall out of the picture, which is awesome. It's really not the case though with convection, specifically convection, I suppose, because it all works about the same way, but actually getting an equation, no one's analytically solved these problems yet. So that was also really interesting to me. I mean, that seems to me like room to improve. It's obviously something that's very challenging. I have no idea how many people are already working on it, but there's a great many people working on, I'm sure, trying to find analytical solutions to these problems. The fact is it hasn't been done yet. That's pretty cool. I suppose similar with machine design, there's one parameter in particular that we discovered at the end of the class where it literally, this equals 1 because we don't know what it is yet. We know it has some effect, but we haven't derived empirical formulas for it yet. We haven't done enough experiments to know what this is. And I thought that was really interesting because it means that we really are on the very edge of what's known in that field if we're getting to that, or something like that. That was kind of the biggest thing through machine design, is just realizing the people out there building these contraptions, the safety factors aren't just because, we don't know exactly what the forces are going to be, but we don't actually know how this material works. We don't know how anything physical actually reacts for sure. We have really good ideas for a lot of things, but for others we just really don't, and that's what safety factors are for.
I don't know, there are a lot of roads I can go down right now. I've learned that I need to keep constantly searching for what I want to do, or like looking into myself, that either that be like meditating or like a lot of reflecting. I thought reflecting came quite naturally to me, and I can do a lot better. So yeah, I don't know, going through life and learning from every experience is a really good thing I need to keep in mind, because sometimes I'm like, that was cool, peace out, I'll forget about it, or like not really know what I learned from it. So like reflecting on that is really awesome. I learned a lot about how other people can like push me and help me with that. I don't know, that's such a wide question, it's hard.
And this is a new question for this year. What's something that you've learned from a specific person this year?
Did anyone reference me?
I know you were mentioned.
Oh boy.
I don't remember.
By whom?
Who was in.
I'm taking a victimology class right now. It's my final humanities class. And I'm another co-op here is also taking it because they're from Mines also. And so I'm taking it with them. And they're from Seattle, which is a really big town, obviously, especially compared to my hometown. But anyways, in our class, we've been learning a lot about like crime rates and stuff like that. It's pretty big on a couple of the last few chapters. In learning about all that, we've been talking about what we know in our personal lives anyways. And apparently Seattle is awful. So I don't, bear with me here. Like one of our first few discussion posts we had to put in this class, we had to compare the crime rates in a handful of cities in our state, our home state, to the national averages. And my home state, little South Dakota, you know, we only had one city available, Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls was like considerably lower than the national averages. On average, let's say there's 10 crimes per 1,000 people, you know, probably specifying the crime. You know, in Sioux Falls, it would be less than 5 crimes per 10,000, X amount of people. It was pretty surprising. And then he did Seattle because that's where he's from. He would be more on the 20 people per X amount of people. It was like twice as much as national averages. It was ridiculous. And then hearing his stories on him being scared walking around town, or being extra careful, I guess, maybe not scared. And then hearing about all that. And then another friend on co-op that I've met, he's from Gillette, and he has the same stories. And I just feel like sheltered little South Dakota girl. I don't know anything about this apparently. So I've been learning about crime and victims from people.
Wow, okay. I'm really trying to think, and I'm sorry I can't come up with one for this, but
I think I've learned how to learned and still learning, I suppose, how to be a good long distance friend with someone and how to maintain that relationship. You already interviewed her, but Brenna is still one of my really good friends. And I think I learned a lot this past year on how to maintain that relationship, because the last time I saw her in person was over a year ago now, when she came to Wyoming to visit me. And we went on this whole exploration. It was the coolest thing. We went down to Colorado and hang out a little bit. And all within the span of probably 36 hours, we went from being in Laramie, Wyoming, to Fort Collins, to Boulder, to Colorado Springs, back up to Laramie. And then the next morning she drove back to Rapid. It was a great time for us to kind of rekindle our relationship. And I think over this past year, we've done a great job of maintaining our relationship. But there's been some rocky patches where it's like I felt disconnected from her. A couple of weeks ago, we had a great conversation just about reconnecting with one another. And I think I've learned through her relationship how to maintain that long distance friendship and maintain that deep accountability that we had. I think we kind of lost that last semester, where all of our conversations were very, very acquaintance like. Nothing was really deep and diving into what was really going on in our lives. And I think personally, I think I suffered from that, because I missed having my best friend there to talk to and talk about what was going on in my life and the struggles that I was having that semester. But I think we've found a good balance of that, and I hope to see that continue. And I think we're both still learning what that looks like, because by no means will we be able to see each other every single year or whatever. But gosh, we have technology now, like we can see each other over internet or whatever. And I think that's just finding that time to set aside and invest in one another still, and be able to jump really quickly from that surface level conversation about, oh, how's your life, how's your job, blah blah blah, to how's your boyfriend, how's your quiet time, how is that going, like how is your relationship with God, like what are you struggling in, what are some temptations you have, that kind of thing. That we didn't really go into that kind of stuff last spring, which I think was difficult. And I put most of that blame on myself, because like I was going through a rough semester, which made it more difficult to, I think I was just like afraid to put out the difficulties I was having last semester with her, which seems absolutely dumb, because she's never judged me a day in my life, and I've never judged her a day in her life. And so it just, I think it's hard when it's not face to face, when it's just over the phone and you're just talking, versus just like sitting down on a futon chatting about whatever. So you just have to be very intentional to make those distinctions and make sure that you're keeping that deep relationship. That was rambly. Welcome to Ramble Central.
So this year I started to, like I said, hang out with a different men's group. And one of the members, named Colby, he really just kind of challenged me in my faith, and just seeing people and like how I react to seeing them, or what I should like like going up to people and asking them if they want to pray, like if they look like they're having a bad day. And yeah, just him teaching me how to rely more on God and be in total reverence to God all the time. So like at the beginning of last semester, the fall semester, when I started going to like basically his office kind of. He had like a work study. We would sit there and do our homework before our class. Yeah, just being able to talk with each other during that time and pray with each other and learning how we should be open to more to praying for people and open more to being gracious and giving to other people. And yeah.
So the example that's coming to mind is a friend from back home, Angelica. We really met this last summer, and then through last summer as well as this first semester, I guess I learned more that going into something without a plan is not always a bad thing. That's something that is very contrary to how I've always approached everything. Always, pretty much. But just going and just seeing how it turns out is sometimes really enjoyable. And that surprised me. It really did. I thought having a plan, knowing where you're going to go, when you're going to be somewhere, what you're going to be doing, I thought that was kind of necessary, I suppose, in order to alleviate stress, but it's not always the case. I do think in general it's still probably the better way to go. If I were to choose to only do one for the rest of my life, it'd be to plan, but that was definitely something that I learned and I've been taking into my life as well, especially with this coming Japan trip. It never ceases to shock me how little plans I have for being there. I'm going to be there for 6 weeks, and I really only have one plan, and that plan just covers the daytime basically for 4 of those weeks. That's just going to school. I'm going to be going to school and learning Japanese, and I literally don't have any plans other than like I really want to climb Mount Fuji. That's like my vague other thing I want to do, but again, like there's no plan set in place for it. And my current plan, so to speak, is to not have plans until I'm already there and I can actually talk to people who live there in Japan to find out more what I want to do, rather than going in with that assumption.
Robin's taught me a lot of things, but the main thing is just relaxing in like every way I can. There's a lot of times when I'd expect so much of other people, and then I realized, especially reading Marcus Aurelius' meditations book, that you're not in control of everyone around you, you're just in control of how you react to it. I see that all the time with just how Robin reacts to things, and so it's really helped me start doing that too, and kind of putting it more into practice than like words, like the meditations book. But dude, I read that meditations book over Christmas break and it was awesome. So inspiring. So I'd say the other main thing I've learned is from Marcus Aurelius and all of the cool things he wrote in his book. I want to reread it now, but I loaned it off to Joseph, and so I want it back so I can start rereading it again.
So my supervisor for the semester is Lisa. She's the RA Hall director, among other things, for Peterson Hall. Like every other week, I have a 1-hour one-on-one meeting with her where we just talk about the relationships we have with the students, how well they're getting along with each other, how we can help increase the community here on campus, planning events, lots of conversation about how community building should work. So just certainly learned a lot from her about interacting with people in general. The grace that she has when she talks with the people that have conduct issues, when she's dealing with those and dealing with other hard things on campus, the grace she has with those is really impressive and really taught me lots about myself and dealing with other people in general, which is all life is, dealing with people. I'm really sad to see her go, but I hope she does or enjoys her new job.
So what's something that God showed you / did for you this year?
It didn't really stem this year, but when I started dating Robin, that was really cool, I guess, because so many cool things have started from that. So just being in a long-term relationship it's been like super rewarding, and I realize I really like being in long-term relationships, especially with Robin, so that's cool. I'm going to maintain that, hopefully. That is definitely one of the best things that has happened, not, I guess, this year, but like right before I went to Ireland, a year and a half ago-ish.
So there's kind of two folds to this. One is a kind of preface. I had a great relationship with God my first semester, fall semester, but this spring semester, I really struggled with my relationship with God, which I think contributes to potentially a lot of the difficulties I had in the spring. But to begin with, I guess one thing that God taught me this semester, well, as per usual, God has once again taught me about patience. Yay! Love it. I'm consistently enrolled in the school of patience. Yay! But I think he taught me and is still teaching me what it looks like to be single and content. I struggled with that a lot first semester because on paper, there was a guy who was nearly perfect on paper. I really felt like God was taunting me with, hey, look, there's this great guy. Just kidding, actually. Like it all fell apart very, very quickly. And that was really, really difficult for me. I don't think I've been that disappointed in a relationship in a long time. I wouldn't say he necessarily compared to my high school relationship, but he on paper was, heck yeah, this is the one. But obviously on paper it's completely different than what they are in real life. So as I got to know him, that kind of thing, I was still like, he's got a lot of potential. But in the span of one weekend, that was all destroyed. And that was very frustrating to me because I was like thinking to God, like, what the heck? Like, are you just taunting me now? Like, waving a feather in front of my face and I can't play with it, that kind of thing. Which I know that's a really bad analogy because guys are not like feathers to play with, but that was just irritating to me. And I think that kind of led to a bit of a downward spiral, per se, in my relationship with God, honestly, until like the past week or so because it just led me to question a lot of things. And I was just struggling with a lot of the way things were run, the bureaucracy of Christianity, I suppose you could say, and kind of went off and like pursued some things I shouldn't have pursued. But yeah, so I think God taught me the value in who He is and the value of my relationship with Him and how that affects the rest of my life. That was kind of rambly, and yeah, I think the second fold of that is God kind of taught me what I've learned through college and what I think my time at South Dakota School of Mines enabled me to be able to do at University of Wyoming, which is be able to adequately invest in the relationships that I need to invest in, but not be as invested in those relationships that would pull me further from God. I think all of my college experience thus far has been leading to this last semester, which sounds really weird because this last semester has probably been my semester in college I've felt furthest from God. But I think it's the semester I've learned the most from God because he took the culmination of everything from the past 2.5 years and used that in this last semester.
Reading Passion and Purity last year was beautiful to me and really, I suppose, restarted my prayer time. I've been lapsing for a while. And similarly, the spring conference is a similar thing for me in kind of rebooting my prayer life. And so as far as things that God has actually shown me this year, He showed me that I really can do all right with a lot of stress. Or maybe that's not the right way to say it. I can remain mentally healthy even when that might not be the logical conclusion of my circumstances, I suppose. I've been really nervous, really honestly nervous throughout this whole semester about losing the Navy job that I got last year. And it's still a valid concern even where I am right now in my classes. And yet, by the grace of God, that has not majorly affected my day-to-day life and stress. Somehow He's managed to push that aside for me, which has been fantastic because every time I start thinking about it, it really goes on a really unfortunate turn of thoughts. And it could go for a long time. That's definitely one thing that He showed me, or a grace that He's given me, if you will. I also had a couple beautiful times of prayer with Him. Especially last December, I had one of the meditations while we were doing our rosary walk that really highlighted the importance of Jesus's life and His death, His time here on earth. If I were to describe it, it would take me a long time to talk about the whole vision, if you will. but it brought me to tears. I mean, it was just beautiful to see how central he is to everything and how vastly important it is that he lived and he was a real person who honestly was risen from the dead is so dang important to everything. Certainly something that it's easy to say, it's easy to hear, but to really, really grasp it is something that I'm still trying to do, but at least I have a better foothold now.
So God kind of just showed me like that he cares for us a lot, and he's been taking a lot of like my fleshly desires out of my life. A cool thing at the little missions trip thingy that I did over spring break with InterVarsity was I worked at a food pantry, and just seeing how much food they got. They're located in the inner city of Milwaukee, and just seeing how much food they get from these different grocery stores and different suppliers, and them almost not having enough room in their storage space was really cool seeing that, because like it shows God being so gracious and abundant, just how he provides for us. And yeah, it's really neat seeing those people work with these other people that don't have a lot of things, and you can see just them all coming in and being able to talk with them and seeing how they react to us working there, and just seeing their own lives and like asking them how they grew up and stuff. Yeah, there was a few regulars that came in each day, and being able to talk to them was pretty cool. And like the staff that work there, they have their own characters and personalities that are just off the wall crazy and it's funny.
I've been getting really frustrated with my boss at work. Sorry, a lot of these are going to be co-op related because they're like fresh in my mind. Yeah. I've been getting really upset with my boss lately. I just haven't been feeling like I've been getting treated right, and other employees are not treating me right, you know, like possibly like not even legal, like treating me poorly. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to the authorities or anything, but I'm fine. But I just haven't been being treated right and been getting really frustrated, and I think my patience has been getting really thin with my boss, and he's an old guy, so an example of where my patience is thin is with him and computers and stuff like that. It's just a struggle. And I've been struggling to keep my patience with him here lately, and I think God has helped me actually kind of try to see things from his side a little bit, and it's helped me kind of take a step back a bit, and it's been helpful. And then along with that, I've seen changes in my boss too. Like, I don't know if God is, you know, zapping down and being like, yo, stop, or what, but every now and again he'll notice like I got really upset or frustrated that he said this thing, so then he'll be like, I know that sounded bad, but I meant it this way. Or, you know, explain his reasoning for telling me why I did this wrong or whatever. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of good actions coming out about, you know, from a lot of my coworkers, and it's been really helpful. Because of that, okay, backstory. I was thinking I would never ever want to work for Bobcat again because I just haven't been enjoying the co-op. But God has been showing me different things, and it's been really nice. And I think I'm willing to work for Bobcat. I just don't want to work in Bismarck factory. I think maybe even another factory would be fine, but just this group of people and the way their culture is just doesn't work for me. So I don't know. But like on Tuesday, we had a big co-op event. All the co-ops for Bobcat together here in town, and so there's people that were driving like hours that morning to get to Bismarck. But that day really showed me that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of good design, innovation stuff that does happen, and I don't have to fight fires all day long. You know, I just need to change positions within the company. You know, so that's been really helpful to watch and see and realize. And I think God is doing that for me.
I think he definitely showed me where I belong here on campus, showing me how I can further serve his kingdom hereby. Next year, I'm really excited to be in Palmerton Hall, because this year I'm in Peterson Hall and there's no common rooms. The residents all lock themselves in their room, so coming back next year, I'll be here at the beginning of the year when they're all like open to change and other people, as opposed to in January where they just want to get back to school. So I'm really excited that like hopefully I'll be able to create a community on the floor I'm gonna live on and lead a Bible study and just be a good example for these people and hopefully get them to take the path down lives that would be what I think would be beneficial for them. Lead them in the ways of God, I guess.
Well, I guess the obvious thing is God told me that I should be in leadership, and he did that over a period of time. I guess it really started cranking up with winter conference and the leadership meeting right before that, hearing about people being overextended, leaders, people who have a lot of other things that they're doing and also trying to balance InterVarsity and being a leader with that. And so just hearing about that need and wanting to help fill that need and hearing God's call to fill that need. So now here I am, a leader in InterVarsity for next year, and yeah, it's definitely not been easy, but it's still been fun. Yeah, over the past couple of weeks, just thinking about what exactly we want for the next year and how we're going to get things done.
Yeah, I would like to also say that Brandon is a really cool person and I really like him.
Thank you, Miro.
Anyway, what's some advice that you would give to the high schoolers coming into school this semester as a freshman?
I can answer that, maybe. But on the side note, I just got an email from the Student Success Center asking, hey, Brooke, do you want to be a peer mentor? You get to go help out some lowly freshmen and, help them get comfortable with college. And that's kind of what you're asking me now. I haven't even decided if I want to do that yet. And now I need to know what I need to tell them. I don't know. I think everybody's different. I chose the studying route and really focusing on studying. There's pros and cons to that. I think I would really struggle giving advice to somebody who's more outgoing and really excited to do college parties and stuff like that. So maybe my advice will maybe stay towards the studying people. But on that note, make sure you study. That's important. Don't get too focused on having fun that you kind of and realizing that you're not under your parents' control as closely anymore. I know that happens to people. But make sure you study, go to class, the generic stuff. Anyways, for studying people, one thing that I still struggle with remembering I need to do is take a break. I need to take a break for a couple hours and do something fun. Get my brain 100% away from the schoolwork, which I really struggle with, because if I go have fun and I sit and play a game with friends or whatever, like a board game, I'm going to be constantly thinking in the back of my head, like, you can't have fun right now. You're supposed to be doing solids, or whatever. I need to get myself a brain break more often. I'll study for 3 weeks and then be brain dead and not understand why I can't do any more homework. And then it turns out, oh, it's because your brain literally cannot do that for that long. You need a break and go have fun. So don't be afraid to have fun. That'd be my advice. I don't know. Did your mom come to the freshman orientation week thing? And there was a couple parent events? Okay. So do you remember in one of the parent events, the parents were each given a note card and they had to write down like one sentence of advice that they wanted to give to their kid. And then that night they were supposed to give the note card to the kid. Well, I still have my note card. I don't know if you do. I guess you do. I'm guessing you do, knowing you, Seth. But I have my note card and I always have it taped to my wall. I actually have it right here. But my two advices from my parents actually are pretty generic and work for most anyone. So I'm going to say them too. One said, be open to meeting new friends. So you're not in high school anymore. You got to meet new people. Don't be afraid to get out of the books and actually go meet friends, right? The other one says it's okay to not get A's on everything and don't be afraid to ask for help. I think they both knew that I was pretty studious and planning on being studious and knowing I was going to get frustrated if I didn't get an A, like this semester. But yeah, so there's my 3 advice. Don't be afraid to have fun, be open to meeting new friends, and don't be afraid to get bad grades.
Ooh, advice to first year students, my favorite. That's why I've chosen to continue to be an RA in the freshman dorms, is because people come in and they don't really know what they're doing at all. The biggest thing is to find out what is truly enjoyable to you, then make sure you find time to do that. Along the exact same note, find out what is taking time in your life that is neither necessary nor really enjoyable, and remove it from your life. Again, really easier said than done. It's shocking to me even still how many things remain in my life that they shouldn't be there. And in all honesty, they really just shouldn't be there. They should have been ditched a while ago because they take time, and it's time that I would enjoy way more if I were just in a music building playing piano. And there's very, very rarely any time where I'm actually thinking and actually making a conscious decision between this thing and playing piano, and I choose this thing. That just doesn't happen. And so my advice is to find these things, remove them, find this thing, and find as much time as you can for it. Because studying takes a lot of time. Studying and homework, it's really a full-time job. That's why you are at college. You should be focusing on that 100%. There is no excuse to not put your best foot forward on every single assignment. There really isn't. Some things can come in that make time challenging, certainly. But if there is something that takes away from your time, then studying comes first, and then something that you really enjoy. And then the things that are just time fillers should be removed entirely, always. It's amazing how much of a difference it makes when you start really trying to do that.
I love this question. I feel like every year I have some dumb thing to tell them that doesn't really impact. I would tell them, no matter where you think you're going to be and who you want to be your freshman year, you're not going to turn out to be that person your junior, senior year. The people around you change who you are and who you're going to be, whether that's good or bad. And by no means is it bad to walk in and say, man, I'm going to love the group I'm hanging out with. Like, I'm so ready to get plugged in with InterVarsity, with Campus Ventures, with the Navigators, whatever it is. But don't limit yourself. Don't just hang out with InterVarsity people. Don't just hang out with Campus Ventures people. Expand, broaden your horizons, hang out with people who don't know Christ. Whether that, well, if you're not a freshman, don't do this, but when you are of age, go out and go to the bars with them, have fun with them. Like, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't do that. Something that my pastor said a while back that really stuck with me is, I think we can get into a rut where we make the little things become big and the big things become little. So, we're arguing whether or not we should wear jeans to church, or whether Christians should drink, or whether I should come after I've been running in running shorts and a t-shirt to church. And I get judged based on that, making the little things big, whereas we make the big things little. Whether someone's sanctification matters or not, whether does someone really know Christ in their heart, whether how they're behaving in accordance to the rules and laws God set before us. And that doesn't mean that we should go judging our brothers and sisters and say, oh, you're not a good Christian actually, or say, oh, you are the Christian. That's not by any stretch. That's for God and God alone to do. But if we see one of our brothers or sisters falling, like for instance, last semester, personally, like I think I went astray a little bit and I struggled a lot with temptation. That would be a good chance for one of my friends to step in and say, hey, Amanda, like, how's your relationship with God? How's your quiet time going? And I would have been like, oh, like, it's complete crap. Like, it really doesn't exist. It's really rough, That in itself is like why we have community. And by no means do I want you to throw that community away. Like, you need community to be your foundation. You need a good group of friends from InterVarsity or Campus Ventures or the NAVs or whoever you find your group of brothers and sisters you want to call your foundation. You need that. But then you need to go out and make friends with other people. Don't just stay in this little bubble, because then you become a clique. Then you're a clique, and then you're the popular group or unpopular group, whatever you want to call yourself, but you are a unit, a clique that is hard to get into and it's intimidating, lack of a better word, and it's hurtful when you try to get in that clique and you get pushed out. I know that as Christians we don't try to do that, but I see it in every campus ministry that I've been a part of, and just due to my walk with Christ and my transferring of schools, I've been a part of a lot of campus ministries, and in InterVarsity, I definitely think I fell into that rut. I got so used to hanging out with my friends. It's just fun. You walk downstairs, you see the big room full of chairs, and you see them prepping for worship, and it's just fun. You just want to goof off with your friends. The last InterVarsity large group that I went to before I transferred schools, I sat in the back and thought about my time and what I had done for InterVarsity, what I had done for South Dakota School of Mines, and what I hope to do for University of Wyoming. At that point, I think only 3 people knew I was transferring to the University of Wyoming. I kind of left quietly, but I realized I literally know every single person's name in this room, and I know quite a bit about every single person in this room. But I look to the outside, I look to the rest of Surbeck, and I knew like 1 or 2 people's names. That's it. Yes, that's good for me to know those people, but I wish I would have spent more time investing in people outside of InterVarsity. And so that's something that I've really given a lot of thought and a lot of effort to at Wyoming is yes, I'm deeply plugged into Campus Ventures. And wow, have I massively enjoyed my time with Campus Ventures. It's been a privilege to be discipled by the women who discipled me at Campus Ventures. It's been a privilege to serve a part of the leadership team there. It's been an awesome experience, but I saw myself creeping into that again my first semester at Wyoming is, there's this group of 4 girls. They're wickedly popular, they're super nice. I sat with them the first night I was there, and I was so caught up in that and being a part of their group and building my foundation on that. And it was so exciting. And we went up for spring. We go up for a ski trip. There's a night where we have discipleship and conversation and teaching. And then the next day we go ski and have a blast. But that night we all drove up together in 2 different cars. And that night, the 4 of them drove back in the same car, and I drove back alone. And honestly, I just had a pity party for myself. Not great, but in that moment, I realized that I was slipping into that same pitfall of being too cliquey within my campus ministry. And I don't want to do that. I don't think that's healthy. God calls us to go out and make disciples. He says to be a disciple, and I don't think we can be a disciple if we're not reaching out to those who don't know him. I think that means something different for everyone. I think some people, God has given the gift and has asked them to go out and start spiritual conversations immediately without building that relationship. But I think for me, he's called me to not do that. He's called me to build those relationships and build deep relationships with them to where they trust me and they call me their friend and I call them my friend. And then he'll present those opportunities to me to have that conversation with them. And he asks me to be patient and asks me to wait and wait for them to bring that conversation up. I think I learned that very deeply through my different times, through the different sororities that I've been through. So yeah, that was rambly again. But yeah, as a freshman, moral of the story, build a great foundation in your campus ministry, but then go out and meet other people, do other things. Go meet someone in the rock club, go meet someone in this hacking club, go meet someone in the library, sit next to them. Like, it doesn't have to be even a scheduled event. It could be a roommate. Maybe God has called you to build that relationship with your roommate. I still talk to my roommate from South Dakota School of Mines. Like, she's the greatest. And it just go build relationships with other people who aren't a part of the campus ministry that you're a part of. And maybe God is calling you not to go, join a sorority like he called me to or whatever. Maybe he's calling you to set InterVarsity aside and go join a different campus ministry. I know at South Dakota Mines, it's not as big of a thing, but like at UW, there's a lot of different campus ministries. But small plug, if you are a freshman coming to South Dakota School of Mines, don't just look at InterVarsity. Campus Ventures will be up there too. So it'll be great. And I will get to see you in the fall at Black Hill State at Camp Judd. So yeah, if you are a freshman, check that out. Small plug. Sorry, Rick, but Heath will love me.
Well, if you're coming to Mines, yeah, you should definitely be prepared for hard work, because not that other schools don't have hard work, but Mines is just another level. Some of my friends are doing hours upon hours of homework, and there are even times when I have hours of homework, but it's totally worth it. And then I guess regardless of any school that you go to, it's important to get plugged in to something you're interested in. All sorts of different organizations and clubs are on every campus, so you just need to find the group of clubs that's right for you. For me, at School of Mines, InterVarsity's definitely been one of those big clubs that I've been involved in, because following Jesus and my relationship with Jesus as well as being also following Jesus is important. And so definitely, if you're coming from high school and you're wanting to strengthen your relationship with Jesus, you should get plugged into InterVarsity or whatever other organization on your campus deals with ministry.
So my freshman year, I said for people to be in the books, because when you go into freshman year, you think you have no time, and you literally have all the time in the world. And then I probably said that my sophomore year. This year, it's probably not going to change, but I'll add to it. Finding a group, I also kind of said this too, finding a group of believers is really impactful for your own spiritual life, especially like a men's group or a women's group. Being able to bear each other's burdens and share and be personal with people allows you to work through your sins and grow super intimate with these people about one common goal, and that's just to see God work in all of our lives. And yeah, it's awesome seeing that just happen.
I don't like to give advice anymore because it varies so much per person. I don't know. The only advice would be like, just do your own thing. Don't drop out of school if this is what you want to do. Have some sort of incentive to complete homework. Find a cool friend group that you want to hang out with. So basically, like, don't let other people pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. Just do whatever you want to do.
But if they do, you may end up really liking it and wanting to commit to it long term and not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so there's like the healthy push and then there's like the not healthy push. So hopefully people can recognize both. Be like, maybe I can be pushed in the right way if someone gives me a healthy push. But if people are like, let's push them off the cliff, like, don't do that.
For sure, certainly get outside of your comfort zone. Do those things, go to Israel, be an RA, do things that you're not comfortable with because you might decide that you are comfortable with them and that you really thrive in those locations. Yeah, just get out and try different things. One thing I did this year was when I came back to school, I made a point of going to a different church every Sunday. And I saw lots of different churches, some that were like, this is not at all what I want. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I want to take this part here and this part here and just make like the greatest church ever. So just definitely branch out, try different things, go to different places and experience your life. You have 4, 5, 6 years here, or however long you want it to be really, of times where you're just able to do what you want. I mean, not that you can't for the rest of your life, but you have the freedom to pick up and move here without having a job or family weighing you down. You have the freedom to live.
And then how about advice for returning students?
Don't forget everything you learned over the summer. Math is important. Don't forget algebra or calculus or differential equations because they inevitably appear everywhere. For anyone watching that has just finished Calc 2, don't forget Taylor series because it turns out those are super important, at least if you're a mechanical engineer. They show up again a lot. I didn't feel like they were emphasized enough. I didn't feel like their importance was really emphasized at all in Calc 2, but you'll see them again.
I think my advice would be the exact same. I think I would also additionally add, though, add advice to both of them, but more for returning students is school isn't everything. I think especially this semester, having my internship this summer and stuff, you learn a lot in school, don't get me wrong, but you're going to learn a butt ton more in your internship. I think obviously I needed the basics of computer science and that great foundation that I think I firmly got at South Dakota School of Mines, and then that firm foundation and application at University of Wyoming. But I've learned more in the past month and a half than I have in 2.5 years of school. 3 years, I guess. Oh well, I'm old. As a freshman called me a meal this past semester, I'm an ancient dino, so yeah, that's great. But I think school isn't everything. Kiss your 4.0 goodbye and go have fun. Go have fun. You're in college for a reason. Go have fun, enjoy it, and hey, live a little. Break the rules, apologize later. It'll be a great time.
Find a group and just rely on God. You might want some things in life, and you really don't need them. And that's been kind of what I've been seeing this year, wanting to have a girlfriend or something. If it's not in God's will that you have a girlfriend right now, you're probably not going to get one, and if you do, it's probably not going to be a good one because it's not in God's will. It might be in God's will for you to have a teaching session at that point, so being able, with the group, you can bring it up like, oh, I want this girlfriend or whatever, and if you get one, you could be asked for prayers and help to figure out if you are actually dating somebody because you want it or if you're dating somebody because God ordained it. And yeah, sorry that got on the dating aspect, but
That's okay. Someone always has to do it every year.
yeah.
I guess if you're coming back, you know how things work, and I guess if you're back, the only thing I can say is you might as well not quit, because if you've survived the first year, you can pretty much make it through the rest of them. I mean, do they get harder? Yeah, and you know, you'll be pushed and challenged, but every time that happens, you'll get a little bit stronger. And also, there's just going to be lots of people around you that you can get assistance from, advice from, help from. So as much as the workload might increase or the stress might increase or you know you might be challenged more, it almost gets easier because you just get access to more information, to more people, to more resources, and that really helps.
Well, certainly your classes are actually going to be a lot harder. I mean, your freshman classes, in comparison, weren't that hard, but they do get a lot harder when you come back here. So don't think that your classes were easy, that you can just put the same effort you put in last time, keep up the work, and put more in than you gave before, and you should be doing a lot better. Third time you come back, well, I came back from a co-op, so that was definitely a good experience. I mean, I would suggest, trying for those internships and those co-ops, because at this point you definitely have the skills that you're able to go work someplace and learn things and live off campus, live away from your parents, or do whatever it is. You have the option now to go work and live off campus. It should be exciting.
Learn from whatever mistakes you made the previous years. Make a plan to try to not make those mistakes again. Don't repeat your mistakes. Look at the mistakes of your friends, see what they made, whether it be they took a teacher that isn't in your guys's the way you learn, not your learning style, something as simple like that, or maybe you weren't organized, so get an agenda for this year or something, At this point, you should know how you do things and whether or not it's going to work for you. So learn from what you know, I guess. I hate this advice, but I feel like it's still something that needs to be said, is make sure you have a professional outfit to wear. You're getting older. You should start having a bit of money if you are doing internships and stuff. So buy yourself a nice outfit to wear to career fairs so you can get more money by getting more jobs. Or ask for it for Christmas or something. Oh, get kitchen equipment. You're starting to not be in the dorms anymore. We'll have kitchen equipment that you can do basic cooking with. And on that note, know how to make healthy food, not just ramen noodles.
What are you looking forward to for next year?
I am looking forward to not being on co-op. Just plain and simple, I want to go back to school. That doesn't really answer your question, though. What am I looking forward to? Why do I want to go back to school? School is kind of home for me. You go to grade school for 12 years, and then you go to college for 4 to 12 years, and it kind of becomes a big part of your life. I'm just used to it, home for me, with my parents having moved after I graduated high school and left the house. I don't really have home with them as much anymore, not the sentimental home anyways. So home for me is where I now have spent the most time, and that's in school. Yeah, I've moved from different dorms to different houses, but that general area, the stress is awful, but it is comforting in that that's what I'm familiar with. It's my state of being, I think, is to be super stressed and not getting sleep and all that jazz. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to going back and feeling at home and at peace with things, I guess, being comfortable with my surroundings. There we go.
A bunch of my friends are going to be RAs, and I'm going to be an RA again in a dorm with other people living outside of their room. There'll be a common room, so I keep telling people I'm super excited to be an RA in Palmerton, which again is something I would have never said before. In general, I feel like I really made a lot of good friends this year too at school that I'm excited to come back to. Freshman and sophomore year, I was excited for summer to come, but now I'm kind of dreading it. I have these relationships here and I don't want to leave them because I feel like I just got back. So definitely just excited to keep on going for next year.
I'm taking a 11 credit out semester and a 10 credit semester. So I don't have full semesters next year. So I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so psyched. I'm like blown away that I managed to do that. Because for a while I was worried that I'd have to go longer. So that's really awesome. I think I'm just excited to see what God has in store for me. I think it's taken a lot of growing up and a lot of changing of my mentality, but this is going to sound really weird and potentially contradictory to what I said earlier, but like I think I'm getting ready and getting to the point where like I am ready for God to put like my husband in my life. You know, whether I already know him or whether he's going to walk into my life, I don't know, but I think it's taken me a long time to grow up enough for that to be the case. And I think we're working towards that. We're getting there. I'm also just excited to hang out with friends and like go outside and play. Like I haven't had a lot of time to do that in college, and I think that's why like I stress to the youth. I say the youth because people call me an ancient dino, but really you're just like 2 or 3 years younger than me, so you're not really that much younger than me. Just go outside and play, go outside and have fun, enjoy your life. Forget about grades. I know professors all around the world are gonna kill me for that, but you know, kiss your 4.0 goodbye and just go have fun.
I am super, super looking forward to having only 12 credits next semester. Now, granted, it's going to be 15 credits, really. Well, it's going to be 15 hours, just 3 of them aren't credited because I'm wanting to take a computer science class. But anyway, having time to really devote time to building friendships is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I realized last semester that, if I was honest with myself, I mean, I had maybe 2 friends or so, 2 people that I thought I would stay in contact with, or at least try to stay in contact with after college. And there were probably 5 or 6 people that I wanted to stay in contact with, but I knew that in our current position we wouldn't. And so my hope for next year, and something I'm really looking forward to, is to spend really intentional time building friendships.
Like I said, I'm going to be with EMI. Really looking forward to that. Just being able to work with this engineering company, so this company that I've been working towards getting all of my schooling, done all of my schooling in, and seeing how I can apply that to a missions field is really neat. And like being able to impact people's lives through God. And also next winter, there's a conference coming up with InterVarsity called Urbana. And I went there my freshman year with Seth, and hopefully we will be able to get a bunch more people to come. Well, I mean, we had a lot of people go, but like just seeing how most of those people have graduated already, I hope we can be able to keep those numbers up and be able to bring that back to our campus and impact our campus and impact our own lives and see where God is calling us in the global aspect of His global church. Yeah. So if you are 18 or older, you should go to Urbana.
I'm definitely interested to see how we finish planning through some of the stuff this week in leadership track. And next year, with me leading Catalyst and being Catalyst coordinator, it's interesting to see how our team of people will be trying to get Catalyst to a point where it's coherent, there's a clear vision, and people are still having fun, and people are still coming, to learn Jesus and to get closer to God. And it'll be exciting. And right now it's very stressful because there's definitely some questions still up in the air. But I'm definitely excited to come back and lead the large group each week and just see how this chapter can continue to grow.
Last question. Any other comments or things you want to make for your future self and or posterity?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I never really know what to say to answer that question. I've been introduced to a lot of different kinds of people this co-op. Let's see. Both of my roommates and the friend group that we've been hanging out with of 3 other guys who are working here. And okay, all those 5 people, they're all like in Greek life, sorority or fraternity. And then a lot of coworkers are really into alcohol and drinking and all sorts of bad decisions. Like my boss is always bragging about how much weed he used to smoke when he was younger. Like it's just all sorts of bad decisions. But anyways, I've been introduced to a different kind of people that I wouldn't normally gravitate to, but I'm kind of forced to be with them because who else am I going to be with, right? But anyways, so I've been learning that it's okay to let loose a little bit. You don't have to be super good all the time, I guess. It's okay to let loose and have a little bit of fun. I have not done anything bad or illegal, I promise. Or anything even close to a stereotypical college experience, long-term college experience. But I've been learning, and it's been good. So it's okay to have fun. You only live once. Smile a little, all that jazz. The logic of my coworker, this guy is like in his 50s. He's like 53. The logic he gave me on you only live once was like, you're not able to do this thing forever, right? This particular experience you're wanting to get, you're going to grow too old. You're not going to be able to do it anymore, or it'd just be really inappropriate for you to do it, or whatever the example is. You only live once, enjoy it while you can, type thing, which makes sense, I guess, but we'll see. School is still very important, and I am still me, studious Brooke, and all that jazz. So
I guess I have two interesting plugs. I guess we'll start with the future self because that's the one that makes more sense. So Brandon, if you're in the future and you're making millions of dollars being a weatherman, congratulations. I guess you made it. But hopefully you're still connected to Jesus, you're still connected to your family, you're still connected to your friends. And I have no doubt that these 4 years of college, or depending on if you do grad school, even more than that, they will probably be the highlight of your life. You'll miss them, but yeah, at least you get to be old and happy living in like Florida or something, like old people usually do. Then again, you'll probably be living in Florida when you're young too, since you'll be studying hurricanes and stuff. Or at least if that's the way it looks now, if that continues. And then I guess if somehow time travel is invented, past Brandon, don't worry too much about whatever mistakes that you're making, because I can tell you that the biggest mistake that you could possibly make is to commit sin. Don't do the easy thing, because the easy thing's not always the right thing. Coming to Mines was worth it, even though it was 1,500 miles away, and you had no family out here, and at least when you started, you had no friends out here. That's life. Sometimes you need to be thrown into the water and learn how to swim. And so you don't need to change anything, because I think things have turned out really well. As long as you're following God, I don't think there's anything you need to worry about.
It worries me if I'm immortalized, because I never want to be. But for my future self, I want to tell myself that I should really maintain some sort of martial art and continue Tai Chi. It's fun and just a really good thing to do for my body. Like the Taekwondo club just started again, like on campus. So I went yesterday and got completely beat up by this black belt who was going easy on me, and this is just a bruise, and I couldn't move my wrist last night, and I was like, oh no, but it feels good, there's like satisfaction in that. So future Amy, you should maintain that and do some meditation and martial arts, and always be a lifelong learner, but hopefully you don't need to be reminded of that. And read some more philosophy. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Not sure how to answer that question, but a lot of people are getting married. A lot of, those people I hung out with before getting married are actually getting serious in relationships, which is not surprising, but just not overwhelming either, but just something I guess I didn't see coming. I didn't realize it would happen already, but for sure it's there, and I'm so happy for them. It just makes me feel a little bit left out.
Don't worry, our time will come someday.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I just want to. No. I got nothing. Wise, Seth. I've lost all my wisdom. It's the one thing I've learned in college is you walked in with this massive ego. Yeah, just kidding. Forget that. You got nothing, bud. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't have anything wise cracking to say. Moral of the story, you're an idiot. And the older you get, the better you get at hiding it. You just get better at concealing how idiotic you really are. So we'll leave them with that. Okay, yes, I do have two things to leave people with. Number one, worst thing they can do is say no. Always ask the question, worst thing they can do is say no. Number two, rules are there to break them. Go break them, and then after, apologize later. No need. Just do it, apologize later. Best thing in life. Okay, we're done.
I'll say something else. This Christmas break, Zeke, Adrian, Seth, and myself got the opportunity to go out to Seattle and see a Josh Garrels concert. If you don't know who Josh Garrels is, this is like one of his logos. And so, yeah, we got to see him in concert. Kind of a low-key concert. It wasn't hopping crazy, everybody's bouncing off the walls. It was like really neat experience because we got to see him before the concert and like see how people asked him questions and him answering them, and just how like has most of his priorities straight, putting his family before his job. Yeah, it's really cool hearing that he values his family more than his fans. It kind of seems weird me saying that, but like it's really cool that he does value his family that much. And during that time, we also got to go to Seattle, Mexico. We got to go Seattle to Vancouver, Canada, and while we were there, we got offered drugs twice. But the first thing that we did was go to the pub because, you know, you can't have fun without alcohol, except only one person got alcohol. So, yeah, that was an experience of itself also. And what was that?
It was a wasp. It was walking on your shoulder and then decided
Was
to
it
fly.
really?
Yeah. Other shoulder.
Oh my goodness, I didn't hear it. That was an experience of itself too. But yeah. Oh, also on my way here, my car started breaking down, so I hope I can get back to my house safely and my car gets fixed safely and cheaply. And I hope Seth gets to have fun on his Kenya thing. That sounds like a neat opportunity. And yeah, Seth's going to Madrid, and so we will both not be at school in the fall. And yeah, Seth and I have been in the same track at CFW each year. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think that is all I have. I hope there's no wasps on me anymore. I'm really afraid of them. They hurt. I hope you have a good day. And did you stop?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I hope you have a good day. And yeah, stay neat.
So what is this interview for, Seth? Rose wants to know.
Well, I can explain this to you. I can grab one real quick and I can show it.
One experience I definitely had that I completely forgot about, but I won't forget about for the rest of my life, is the Mark drama.
Ooh, Mark drama. I haven't even mentioned that.
Yeah, you tried to get me in it, and I was like, but I'm on co-op.
As far as we know, it had never happened in this country until a couple months ago when we did it, and then another school in South Dakota.
Honestly, I had never thought acting was anything enjoyable at all in my life. I thought I would be the worst person at it, and I probably still am, but I at least really enjoyed it.
Probably my most memorable line from the play would have been, "We're here."
Appropriate background for that.
Me before Ireland is so much different than what I was in Ireland, is so much different than what I am now. It's kind of crazy. So it feels like, even though Ireland wasn't that long ago, it was just a year ago, it was kind of a past life. A really good past life, like a really good dream.
But half the time, I look at my boss and his job is so stressful. He's constantly putting out fires, like if he doesn't get this done, the entire factory is going to shut down, because, I'm in manufacturing. So we're just keeping the world turning is all we're doing. We're not doing real engineering, hardly.
That was something I was really struggling with when I was on co-op, was just how, not necessarily depressing, but just mundane the work became. It's like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Hopefully I can reflect upon that a year from now and so that I got the answers I was looking for, whether or not they appear is to be determined.
I can't see anything because yesterday I went canoeing and we tipped the boat right about here and my glasses fell off my face. Until we find the glasses, I will have a little bit of difficulty seeing long distances, but...
Hey Brandon, you just killed a dandelion.
And he's morally okay with that? He can sleep after doing that?
Because ants are scary.
They're not.
Yeah, they are.
Some are.
Yeah, it's tough to make those distinctions in every definition that everyone says.
But the fact that no one did it means it's basically guaranteed to be on the final.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing, but well, actually, yes, I do think it's a bad thing. That's a lie. I do think it's a bad thing.
Only the really good engineers get to do that. The rest of us just use Excel files and...
We have the title engineers, so we get to make all the big decisions that no one else is allowed to make. And we're like, but we don't know this stuff. It's the design engineers. And so we go email the design guys, and then they take 2 days to respond. And we're like, but we need to know now.
Everything having to do with physical objects and all these molecular properties that we can't perfect them, really. There's going to be imperfections in the material itself, and because of that we can't have just a perfect formula.
Not like fake the math, but we just approximate it really closely by using Excel files and say it's close enough and use large safety factors.
Is so interesting and also terrifying.
I want my next engineering position to be design. I've had 2 manufacturing spots. I wanna design one now. I wanna be in the office for a while. I think I'll hate it, but I gotta try it.
I definitely could have done either of them on this last test, but given the choice between the two, it seemed silly not to do the fatigue analysis that we'd done a million times before.
Turned out good because, he's God, but...
In the meantime, so I have a 3D printer. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love you, Brooke. Yes.
But yeah, definitely the people in the Mark drama, like, I didn't know all of them very well now, but I do now, and I don't think they know me very well too. And I'm not sure how they feel about that.
Really helps motivate me a little bit more, having someone that's just so obviously way more intelligent than I am. That's what kind of drove me through high school, I suppose.
High school is going to be the best years of your life. You're just going to love it. It's going to be great. And
that was heartbreaking. That was the most emotional roller coaster ride I've been on.
And I threw it on the ground.
Oh, so sad.
See, I'm not creative enough to do the improv, nor am I perverted enough to do that. I mean, that is definitely outside my comfort zone, and I said I should expand my comfort zone, but I don't know if that is within my skill zone.
In my opinion, you're not doing life if you're not progressing in something.
I'm assuming the number of people for this video have been increasing as well. Like the first year was 4 or 5, second year was like, I don't know, 10.
But this year I emailed 48 people.
48, whoa!
How many do you think you'll have like next year?
Just one photo of someone, you see like the light in their eyes and like one sentence.
That definitely makes sense if you're working on a lot of things by hand.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Then you get more like punk and and less abandonment.
It's okay, I'll still be here waiting for you. I'm not going anywhere real quick.
So kind of like a film for like an old camera?
The second heat transfer exam and the first thermo exam both back around the same time, and I got low 50s on both of them. It just sucks.
Yeah, I definitely probably cried in that movie a couple times.
But I really can relate. That's kind of how I've been feeling a lot lately at school.
They have a way of like simplifying it, I guess, and they can't really make it more complex to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I guess it's really just Laplace transform, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's exponential.
I don't even know what the question was anymore. I've rambled so far away from that question. We're leaps and bounds away from that. I think it was like advice for freshmen or something.
Like, what's the population of a city that, like Denver or LA or something? like other big city that I know of today. I wanna okay. Denver can be small.
It's so long though. It's so long.
I remember that going on the band trip freshman year of high school. LA took forever and ever and ever, 5 ever to drive through.
I think I would need a bit more alcohol to do that.
No. No. No parties.
I mean,
Does a moment actually matter? Is it real? I don't even know what that means. I don't even know.
Maybe what that means is like a bolt
clinging to the armrest between me and the rows.
does not work if it's not properly torqued and under the correct tensions. It's just going to fall out, and then you won't have a bolt, and everything will fall apart. So you need that stress in there.
She has interesting thoughts about you.
Let's not include that because my face just got real close to the camera there. Way too close for posterity's sake. No one needs to see that face that close.
I don't know, like ancient Chinese pagodas still look pretty baller to me. So
They say that by 2050, most people in the world will be living in cities of a population over 10 million. So
That sounded interesting. Can you type that?
Oh no. No one needs to know what's going on in my life, Seth. It's a nightmare.
I'm honestly shocked that there is even the potential for me to get an A in that class.
I have faith you'll do great, just like normal. Even if it takes 20 times as long, it'll happen.
No.
Well, I think you'd be pretty above average at it.
Okay, thanks.
If I get exactly 100%, I'll get an A in the class. A 99 would not do it.
Okay, wowzers. Yeah. You got it all figured out, man.
Yeah, I don't think I'm funny. I mean, I think I'm hilarious, but I don't think anyone else thinks I'm hilarious.
oh no.
And then, I mean,
You liberal. Weekends camp. No one sleeps at camp.
They
that trail
die!
on the south
I remember that happening actually growing up. Like in elementary school, we had this
this island off the coast of North Carolina where they still speak in an accent that is almost identical to what
1 second. Sorry. What?
You really think I should go for improv?
Liverpool accent. Go.
Thor was, and then, yeah.
We always joke around like we judge our friends based on who's going to be our bridesmaid in our wedding.
Yeah, I could be that obnoxious guy. I could be that guy.
Hello? What's your name?
And I miss kids. I miss little kids being around because
Children are great.
Little kids. And then it's really fun listening to their reasoning behind it. Like, why'd you choose this present? Oh, because of this. And oh, that makes sense.
Are you gonna go outside and enjoy the weather?
No.
No, it's super nice out here.
Yeah, that was you probably a lot.
I didn't know that was an option. I don't know. I could send hate mail to the forum.
So the world is going to be filled with a bunch of LAs.
It's going to be super strange having you and Tyler both gone.
Man would have been like heartbroken if he went to the one at.
I don't think I can do it.
yeah, so Libby or Z, if you're watching this, hit me up. Let me know what's going down.
Okay, so you got, I love you. Mom.
I think cyberpunk would be cool if more things were just like glowy all the time. If you had like glowing paint everywhere, or like, I don't know,
just like
cool shadowy stairs down in nightclubs everywhere. I don't know.
Potential energy is just kinetic energy that hasn't happened. And so it's not really real, it's just like predicting what could be. I mean, that's what potential means, I suppose. Yeah. We talk about these objects that like they have this much potential energy when they don't have any energy right now. But I suppose that is what potential means. All right. Like a moment though.
But usually it just sums up to some one sentence. I'm like, okay, why don't people just talk like that all the time? I don't know.
I think I would really struggle to make people still like me and not hate me, because I'm a perfectionist, so I want to be, you have to make it perfect, but that's infeasible.
But I suppose like upperclassmen always told me that going through, and I didn't really believe them. Like I was just like, but it's true. Trust me, kids. Trust me. I'm the one to believe.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big one for you, for sure.
Castigliano's theorem is really just pretty much vanished from my mind, so I'm gonna have to review that.
Would you like to see my cool litho paints?
Beautiful. So pretty.
I don't know how many people actually watch the full videos of anyone.
I look forward to seeing them when they are done.
It has like this cool like feng shui zen pond with this bridge. You're like, this is awesome. Why is it an airport? I don't know.
It worked.
I've been reading through a lot of like urban planning schemes lately.
I really need to get packing. I think I have a lot of stuff I want to put together tonight.
Like a secret door.
Sounds good. Thank you. It was really nice talking with you, Seth. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being my friends, but wow, I don't know how you guys listen to me talk so much. It just, makes me put it into perspective a bit, I guess.
It's nice maintaining a diverse world.
And we've ended. Wait, can you still hear me?
So how do I stop it?